So
if you can repeat your question, please. Thank you.
Yeah. So I'm curious why, to me, it seems like a God who demands and punishes us if we don't believe enough. He seems tyrannical. He seems like a God who sort of he just seems tyrannical. And I'm curious why you don't feel the same way. Sure,
Yeah,
because clearly you don't.
I don't feel the same way. And I don't feel the need to justify anything. If someone doesn't believe in God, then whether he calls God tyrannical or not tyrannical is irrelevant, because he doesn't believe it exists. So why is he afraid of punishment?
Well, no, I'm saying that why, like, the God...
Are you fearing punishment yourself?
No.
Then you got nothing to worry about.
No,
I guarantee you there is a punishment waiting.
Sure. I'm like in for the theology, like, why do we believe in a God? But like, this question to me is like, the God you're presenting to me seems like an evil God. And it seems like very petulant, very childish, very petty. He seems to care overly much about what we believe in him as over like our actions. Like, if you imagine a good parent,
is believing an action or no?
It very much depends how you think about it. But yeah, sure.
Yeah. So believing is an action. So what you just said is incorrect rationally, because you said he doesn't care about our actions, and believing in him is one of the actions. And the consequences of not believing in him is doing everything else wrong, because your desires becomes your God. You do whatever you want to do in your day-to-day life. You become the moral source of what you should and what you shouldn't do. Like for you, you're a prime example. What is right and wrong? Can you tell me?
No, it's a curious problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah, whatever you think. So how do you behave in your life? How have you been behaving? You're doing what you like.
To a certain extent, yeah.
Yeah, so you're just proving my point. So the minute you disbelieve in a creator, you become your own God. And the consequence of disbelieving in a creator will influence everything else to do with your life. It's to pretend that this is a simple thing. It is no way a simple thing. So it has an influence on everything you will behave, how you will behave in the rest of your life, whether you believe in a creator or you don't believe in a creator. So it is literally why you exist on here. That's why it's a test in this life. Because when you don't believe in a creator, you will act in a specific way. And when you believe in a creator, you'll act in a different way.
Well, I don't think that's true. I don't think people generally do bad things regardless of whether or not they believe in it. I do, yes.
Do you drink alcohol?
I do. Sometimes, not much.
Do you fornicate?
As much as possible.
Okay, so you're just proving my point. Your actions
are these immoral?
Your actions are opposite of mine. So you just said you don't believe, not believing in God will have an influence on your actions, and you're just telling me how they're having an influence on your actions. Me believing in God is having an influence on how I behave, and you not believing in God is also having an influence on how you behave. Now, I don't need to convince you that they're moral or immoral, because by definition, you need to tell me the source of morality, whether you believe in objective or not. You don't believe in God to begin with, so we'll have to come back whether there is a God or there isn't a God. The reason we say these are immoral, because what determines morally right and wrong is God. So by extension, if God said those things are wrong, they become objectively wrong, because God is the one who determines what is objectively right and objectively wrong. But again, my point still stands. If you don't believe in a creator, it's not as simple as just I don't believe in a creator. No. It is that the rest of your life will be a consequence, accountability, things that you will do will all be related to whether you believe in God or not. That's why the biggest casualties of human history are by atheists, people who don't believe in God, people who have no sense of objective morality. Therefore, they become their own God. You got the biggest massacres that took place in human history. The biggest killings were for political reasons, worldly reasons, gain, this and that. Has nothing to do with the belief of God, has nothing to do with religion. And there are multiple studies on that. Like Naveed Shaykh has a study, for example, in Louisville University, showcasing you that how the biggest human casualties are coming from atheism and these anti-theist groups. Sorry?
I just wanted to pull... it's an interesting topic. I just want to pull a little bit back to the sort of philosophical angle, which is... to me, it seems like we're doing the same thing. At a certain point, you're deciding whether or not, which part of how well you understand God's commandment. So sure, God told us this is true, and we can accept that as the true word of God. But at a certain point, you're reading it, you're interpreting it, you're getting the information into your brain, and this is the same sort of divine action that you're accusing me of, saying that actually I think that I'm God. Well, to a certain extent...
Are you comparing receiving information with determining information? Are you just did you just conflate the two as if they're synonymous?
I'm saying that I did.
So me receiving information from a friend is not the same as me determining to do what he told me or what he didn't tell me.
No, but you're determining whether or not he's speaking the truth, right?
And to claim that the two are the same thing is just purely irrational.
No, I'm saying that if you're determining what actions to make based on what God has told you, you determine it based on what you believe to be true about God, but this is a determination act.
That's not as the same as determining whether right or wrong.
You're determining whether you're right or wrong. You're determining whether
I'm not.
Well, you get this information from God, right?
Uh-huh.
And how you to interpret this information? Is this not an act? Is this not a part of...
I don't interpret nothing. The Prophet ﷺ, he told us how to understand the Quran. Quran is clear. And his life and his companion's life is the way how we understand the Quran.
Yeah, and those are methods of determination.
That's not interpretation. I think you're using terms that with all due respect, either you don't understand or you're using incorrectly. And interpretation is when you have an ambiguous term that has more than one meaning, and then you try to interpret it to understand what is the correct meaning. Now, if I give you a clear command, drink water, you don't interpret my command to drink water or not to drink water, because it's a clear command. Drink water means drink water. If there's a bottle next to you, drink from this bottle next to you. You drink from the bottle next to you. Now, interpretation is a completely different thing. Is where you have a statement that is ambiguous, that could have multitude of different meanings, and then you come to a conclusion. The Quran is very clear. Prophet ﷺ shows us how to understand the Quran, how to implement it. That's why he was living, he was implementing it.
I think
we can understand.
Yeah, but I think this is entirely semantic. Like, the word is, you get information, you have the information, and this information transfers to your mind. That's the important thing from my point. I'm saying that at the point of transference, at the point you're saying, well, it's clear, it's definitely true. Well, maybe it is clear, but maybe it isn't. How do you know this? How do you approach this knowledge claim?
Well, I'm not hyper-skeptic like you. I trust my experience. I don't doubt my experience because I have no reason to doubt it. You guys do it the opposite way around. You start doubting something without a reason, and you become crazy, and you don't even know whether you exist or the universe exists. And I know you do that. I know.
Yeah, you're right, 100%.
I know, and we don't do that. It's so simple. Like I'm smart enough to know that I have no reason to doubt my personal experience. It's been consistent since I was born. It's been repetitive, and it seems to be real. I've got no reason to doubt it. You have to give me a reason to doubt it to start. And you cannot say because it could be something else. That's not a reason. That's a hypothetical scenario. If I live my life based on hypothetical scenarios that has no evidence, like, for example, the example I give all the time, that SpongeBob is dancing on the moon. If I keep exploring these ridiculous possibilities, there's a flying pink elephant behind my building right now, I will keep looking and wasting my life. Now, I don't do that. I base things based on evidences. If there is convincing evidence for something, then I would consider that a possibility. If there isn't, then I don't care.
Yeah, well, to flip that around, what is then the evidence for God? What is the proof that it doesn't work for any of the other religions? What is the proof?
You said we went a circle, we came back. You said you want to do that. You don't want to do the theological discussion, and then you went, and then
I
you
want
came
the
back.
theology. Sorry,
I'll tell you my best evidence for the existence of God.
Mm-hmm.
My best evidence for the existence of God is I don't need to prove the existence of God because it's a part of human nature innately with us. There are multiple studies that show that, like Justin Barrett's study. Bunch of atheists who conducted a study in Oxford University came to the conclusion. Dr. Oliver Petrovich, he did the same thing on Japanese children. You can look at certain tribes that were separated from the rest of the world. They still believed. Every civilization, literally, in human history, had a belief of a higher entity. So children are born, even in societies which are atheistic, and I'm giving studies and references. You just
I understand. Yeah. I agree with you.
They innately believe in a creator. So why do I need to prove something which is innately a part of my human nature? Just like there are I believe the belief on God is an axiomatic thing that you're born with, just like the rationality is an axiomatic thing that you're born with, just like knowing causality is a real thing, is an axiomatic thing that you're born with, just like intuitively knowing that you're choosing is an axiomatic thing that you're born with. I don't need to prove anything to anyone. Well, I don't bother to try.
But if I can explain this feeling, this sensation of God in another way, in a natural way, like we see pattern, we see faces in the clouds and hear the rustling.
I don't see faces in the clouds. Well, what do you do?
We see patterns.
Maybe if you drink something.
Children do that. You're talking about children. Things.
No, these studies don't prove what you said. These studies that were done shows that they say there's something high above. They don't call that thing. Whatever they didn't call it a human being. They didn't say it looks like a creation.
No. But I mean, what I'm saying is that children believe loads of crazy things for absolutely no reason. And they believe they anthropomorphize a lot of nature for no reason.
No. Every universe. This is something which is a fact. Every universal belief that we're born with as human beings, as children, is true. For example, I'll give you already an example. Universal belief. That means all children are born with that belief. You're saying some children have crazy stories. That's irrelevant. Talking about everyone being born with something. So when you have children from 20 different countries, like the study showed, from 20 different backgrounds, being all saying the same thing. Essentially, it's an innate thing within human beings. So, for example, we have an innate thing of knowing causality, cause and effect. That's why you always see children saying, where did this come from? Why, when, where did it come from? Who did this, who did that? And there are multiple studies as well on causality. Like, for example, you put objects on a table, they remove the table without the objects, and the baby
that
will shock.
explains the phenomenon.
Step by step. I'm trying,
Okay,
step by step.
sure.
I'm trying to make a point. So this causal belief, cause and effect, is an intuitive thing that is within human beings, and this is true. Another thing that human beings have is they have a sense of even justice that we're born with, equality in a way to say. If you have two babies and you give a baby one cookie, you don't give it to the other baby. The other baby will get upset, will start crying, because it recognizes a sense of injustice that is innately put by the creator. This is the claim I'm making.
But why by the creator?
I'm coming to that.
Sure.
By the creator within that baby is also another intuitive thing that we exist. It's an axiomatic thing. It's an intuitive knowledge within every human being that he exists. He's aware of his own self, and there are surroundings around him. So I'm making the claim that all of these are intuitive beliefs that are universal, and all of them are true. And one of them is the belief on God, because it's also an intuitive, universal belief that everyone has.
But one of the things you described here, this causal belief, is the same. This is just the same as explains why we believe in God, because we see connections in everything. We try and apply meaning to everything. That explains it.
I already told you the study disagrees with that. They don't say I believe in a creator because this has to come from this, that has to come from that.
That's not what I'm saying either.
They don't give you the children don't say we believe in a creator because of the cosmological argument or something. They don't start telling you things that come into existence that they require a cause and a cause.
I agree. I'm saying that this is the same thing. I'm saying that the causal belief.
Andy, I feel like we're going in a circle a little bit. Look, my claim is very simple. Okay. You already agreed with me that studies show this, that it's an innate thing that we as human beings and every civilization existed are being born believing in a creator. Now you need to tell me why is that wrong. I don't need to tell you anything, because that's a fact already that exists, that is within human beings. For you to try to convince me that it is wrong, you need to give me the reasons why it's wrong. I don't need to accept your reasons. I trust my innate experience and my rationality as well.
The logic of your argument being that we have this experience of God, that we know that God exists, and so this is proof of God existing. And I'm saying that in order to disprove
I didn't say that way, but okay.
No, I know you didn't. And that's kind of what I'm rephrasing it to make my point here, because that if you demonstrate that this cause, this feeling, this knowledge can come from something else, and I think it comes from what you said about this causal belief, this belief that everything is connected.
What's your evidence to support that?
I think that it's the same belief. I think that you're logically you're just restating
evidence. I asked for evidence, not what
I know you're asking for evidence. I'm stating that your explanation is a word game. You're stating that belief in God and belief in causality are different things. I'm saying they're the same thing.
How are children saying that there is a divine, something higher above them, is equal to believing that something requires a cause? How is that equal?
Because they're just belief in the nature of purpose, the meaning and understanding causes.
Anyways, okay, I'll let you go, Andy.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, I'll let you go. Anyways, it was
interesting.
Yeah, let's just put it that way. Okay, Andy, I believe I gave you answers from my perspective. Anyways.
Thank you for your time. I'm sure we could.
I appreciate the good manners in the discussion. Thank you for.
Thank you as well.
Okay.